Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the vlog. So in this week's episode we have some sad news. I'm gonna have to sell the TT. We're coming to the reasons why later, but first of all we're going to be doing some work on the Mark 1 TT. We're going to be fitting the pipes and the water pipes and the charge pipes so we can get that job finished. So let me show you what we're going to fit, and then later on we'll talk about why the TT has to go. Okay, so just to remind yourselves or ourselves, we've got the new pipes that we got in. So these are our coolant pipes, the blue pipes. Some of you said how much you like them, some of you don't so much. It is a bit mighty. We've got our charge pipes, or our black charge pipes, to replace the ones that are on the car. And we have ourselves a new water bypass switch, because the other one was really corroded. And then to top it up, we have a brand new expansion tank, because the other one is discolored and you can't see the level of coolant that you've got in the car. So we've got a brand new one to put on the car. All that is going on the car in today's episode, so let's go and do it. Right, so let the puzzle begin. There are literally about 17 pipes that I need to connect up, and they need to replace all of this. So gonna do a little bit of time lapse. You're gonna see some stuff that's already been done once I figured it out. To you, this is gonna be a couple of minutes. To me, probably a number of hours. But we're gonna start off with a water bottle, because it's a natural, logical place to start, and then we're gonna work our way down and just try and match what pipes go where. So let's kick that off. Right, so water bottle is off. That was a bit of a nightmare, as you probably saw, and you can see the condition of this one in comparison to the new one. Completely white, and you can actually see it, and that's the reason why we're getting rid of it. So we'll get this one fitted, and of course we've now got the first of many pipes. We've taken this pipe off, and this is the replacement. So let's get this on, then the rest will be just plain sailing. Wishful thinking. Alright, so this is the current water bypass hose, and as you can see it's pretty corroded. It included the connections inside there. They are pretty rough, and that's the outside. What's it going to be like inside there? Well, I can tell you that it is pretty dire. That's the old one. Here's the new one. Yeah, and this is obviously been an improved one as well. So we'll fit this one on, because as you can see, nice, clean and new. So let's get that one fitted. Right, so we've got all the blue pipes that we can get on. There are one or two that we can't get on. For instance, this pipe here, where it goes, it's got a clamped end, a bit like this, but it's a pressure treated end, so you can't take that off. All the charge pipe hoses are on, so you can see them down there. They were a pig to get on, but they're on now. But actually what I had to do in the end was put the hose in hot water, which made it a little bit more pliable, and that enabled me to get it on. But particular, this one here was really difficult to get on, but it's on now. And also the benefits of having a catch can, you can see those puddles of oil down there and in that bucket there, that all came out from this pipe, which is the lowest point, and it came out of the intercoolers, because the oil that's coming in from the crankcase, some of it is obviously going into the combustion engine and the engine's burning it, but a lot of it is depositing in the bottom of the intercoolers. And of course that's what a catch can avoids. So it catches all the oil and then you drain it. Now you do have to do that regularly, but it means that your engine does burn cleaner. You don't burn oil as well with the fuel and air mixture. Good. Right, the next thing and the last thing we're going to do today is get the pipe off. I took this off, trust me, it took me the best part of 2 hours to get this pipe out, because the way that it's got a Jubilee clip at the end and it was the wrong way. Fortunately, I used my power ratchet to get it off, and eventually it came off, which is great. And then to pull it off, I heard this expression used, tighter than a tight thing, by another YouTuber who does TTs, and he's absolutely right. It was a nightmare. So what we've got left to do now is just cut these clips on here, and then that way, and then we can fit this new charge piper, and then that will end this task. Good, let's get that done. Right, so we got the main charge pipe in, but we did have a casualty of war. We broke a bit in there trying to get this off. That's broken. So this component here, as you can see, got to get a new one, whatever this is, and no doubt it will be an insignificant part that will cost hundreds of pounds, because that's Audi for you. Anywho, the charge pipe goes in really easy. I thought it might be troublesome to get on, but it hasn't, so I've put it in place for now, and we just got to get this replaced. So I'll get that sorted, and then that will pretty much complete all the pipe work. So we then just need to do the final assembly, which will happen next week now, because I'm still waiting for the inlet manifold that's been polished. That's going to be finished on Tuesday. And then once that comes, we can put that back together and then finish this part. So I'm expecting to get the whole thing reassembled and back together and running next week, okay, before we go on to the next bit of the car. And I promise you, I know this has been long, it's just that it's getting bits and pieces for it, but I've got everything that I need now, minus the inlet manifold. So I promise you the next stage will be pretty quick. And let me tell you what the next stage is. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to change the rear shocks on this car, because they're gone, and it was an advisory on the MOT. Then I'm just going to take the seats out and just give the carpet a clean. You can see that moss stain there. The whole carpet needs a clean, and then that will complete the restoration up until now. And there's a good reason for that, and you're about to find out now. So let's talk about the TT. You haven't seen the TT for a while, but he has been my daily for some time now. So why am I looking to sell this car, having only owned it since November of last year? Well, there's a number of reasons. It's my daily, like I said, and I do love this car, but there are some things about this car that really irritate me, and there are some things about this car that I love. Now, the things that irritate me about this car is the driving position. So I'm in the car now, and when I drive the car normally, what happens, look at my legs on accelerator and like that, they're quite hunched up, so it's quite an uncomfortable driving position. Although the seats on this car are really comfortable, just the driving position is just not, it's just not right. And this is with the steering wheel right up to the top. If I have it down, then it's even closer to my leg. So as Audis go, this is probably the shortest wheel space that you can get in an Audi. And the things that I do love about this car, things like the dashboard, I love that. The car needs a service. It's going to get one in the next day or so. But it is I love the here we go. Once it loads up, I do love the virtual cockpit. That is what makes this car, and I think without the virtual cockpit, then it's all right, I guess. But yeah, you see that makes such a difference when you're driving. You'll be able to see looking straight ahead where you're going, and a lot of Audis do have this. The TT is probably one of the first to have it in virtual cockpit. So yeah, that's the only thing that I'll miss. But you know what, you get used to this pretty quickly, and after driving it for a month or so, you know, it becomes old hat. And this version that I've got here, the MMI, is not the online version where you get the live map updates, so you can upgrade to that, but for me it's not worth that. The other thing, it's a manual. Now, when I was younger, having a manual car was the pinnacle. You know, automatics were just not for me. But as I've got older, and especially with the DSG gearbox that Audi do, the auto are just fantastic. You cannot beat a good DSG gearbox, especially when it changes gear. It's just phenomenal. And this car with the manual shift, it can be quite irritating, especially when you're in traffic. It tends to be quite laborious because you're always sort of working your clutch. And this is the thing, see, when you're driving an auto, you've got your footrest on it, and then you just basically got your accelerator on the go, so it's quite relaxing to drive. But changing gear all the time, and where I work is about 8 or 9 miles away, it's just not a fun drive. So that's another reason why I'm getting rid of this car. The other reason is to do with the engine of the car. The engine of this car is a 1.8 litre, so standard power delivery for this car is about 180 brake horsepower. Now I've put a race chip on there, and that increases it by another 30 brake horsepower. I think takes it back to 210 or 220, but pretty much that is the limit of the car. I can do other bits and pieces, but if you look on the tuning forums, you will see that there's not much for the 1.8. And why? Because you need the 2 litre really to be able to develop the maximum power in this car. So there's a couple of things that I've been toying with, you know, buying a TTRS engine and then fitting it in this car. The installation would be pretty straightforward, but marrying up all the electronics, although in theory it should just be straightforward, but I've not seen it done, so there's a risk with that. And buying a TTRS engine or an RS3 engine, they're exactly the same engines. You're looking at about £6,500, which is a lot of money to put on a whim to hope that it will work. And then the next thing is that if I fitted that, it will make this car pretty much valuable. It will just kill the value, because no one wants to buy a car that's had a TTRS engine fitted or an RS engine that hasn't come out of the factory. People get a little bit nervous about that. It's hard enough to sell a salvage car and try and get maximum money from it, than to have a salvage car that's also had an engine conversion. Well, yeah, it's just a difficult one to do. So those are the main reasons why I want to get rid of this car. And the other reason is to do with what's next door to me here as well. So if you are a frequent watcher of this channel, you will know about Eleanor here. Eleanor is my S3, and we did a complete rebuild on. A new engine was fitted on this, a new S3 engine, and it goes like grease lightning. This car is now kicking out around 400 brake horsepower, yet to be proven. but it's a scary car to drive, and that's why I love it. And I have never got bored of this car since buying it. Just the stance, the way it looks, everything about this car is phenomenal. The only trouble that I have with this car is that I never get to drive it. See, my wife drives this car most of the time because she doesn't like driving manuals. She can drive manuals, but she prefers this car because it's got a DSG gearbox, which you probably can't see in that picture there. It's got a DSG gearbox, and when you drive this car, you see why the DSG gearbox is so good. And that's why this car will probably never leave this channel. If it does, it's because I bought an RS3 to replace it. So I got to get a car that is better than that, is powerful enough to compete with that, and means that my wife would drive it, give me the opportunity to have more drive time in this car. And that's something that will be coming up very soon. So I do have a new car. It will be arriving shortly. You won't see it for a few weeks. If you're a patron, you will know about it in the next few days. If not, you probably know about it already. So this car, we've still got a couple of things to do. We're going to put the rear wing on there. However, I'm not going to put the wheels. The wheels that I bought will go onto Eleanor. And then these wheels will probably go on the new car that's coming. So this will get the wing, and then we will get this car final things doing on it to get it ready for sale. So if you're interested in buying this car, it's an 18 plate, 29,000 miles. Hook me up, let me know, and I will see if we can come to a deal. But it is a great looking car. It drives well. It's just not the car for me, because I need to have a bigger car. Okay, so that's the TT. So let's talk about some numbers now, because we haven't done that for a while, have we? So first of all, I'm going to talk about the TT. Then I'm going to talk about the S3, because I've never actually revealed what we pay for the S3 finally. So the TT costs me £7,800. All the bits and pieces, etc., that I've added to the car, including the additional stuff, amounts to 12,350 odd quid. That's how much it cost me to put the TT back on the road. And don't forget, we didn't fit the original front bumper. We fitted a TTRS bumper, and we also got the lower lip as well, the TTRS, which is probably one of the most expensive bits that I paid for, besides the most expensive handle that we got. You remember that? So it's got a TTRS front, it's got a TTRS original wing as well. So that's coming pretty reasonable when you think about it. The S3, it actually cost me 15k in total to get that car back on the road, which was remarkable considering that I had to buy a new engine. But fortunately, I was able to actually resell the engine. I sold it to a Lithuanian guy who came in his van all the way from Lithuania, picked up a whole lot of other bits as well, but bought my engine off me for around 350 quid, which was fantastic as far as I was concerned, because it was pretty much trash. It worked, but those engine mounts needed some work. And then all the bits, the turbos, all the other bits that I stripped off the engine, I was able to sell back as well, which kind of reduced the cost of my engine. So in the end, after selling the original bits on my car, I bought my engine cost me about 1,500 quid. So 15 grand, 15 and a half it was in the end to get it all on the road, which was at the time about 6 to 7k cheaper than buying a straight S3. So for me, I was happy with that, and still continue to be happy with it because it's a fantastic car. So the new car will come sometime this week, although you won't be seeing that for a few weeks because we need to finish off the restore on the TT, which we're going to cut short so we can get the new car in the garage. What I will say, it's a little bit different in the sense that I think I am the first UK salvage person to have this type of car. There's a clue for you. So see if you can figure out what car it is in the comments below. I look forward to seeing that. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe down here. Click on the bell notification button so that you're notified whenever we release new videos. Like, share this video as well. But most importantly, if you are one of those many casual viewers, subscribe. Be a subscriber and you'll get this content regularly. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you next week.